here's Brody Brazil.
There's got to be so much going on right now in Salt Lake City as they get ready for Utah's NHL team. And one thing that needs to be taken care of, and it sounds simple, but I guarantee you it's not, is actually picking a name for this team. Because it's so much more than a name. There's a logo, there's team colors, there's imagery, and ultimately what the jerseys and sweaters are going to look like. And that's the point of this video, to dive through some concepts. I was browsing social media. I saw Colby Sanders put these up on Twitter. I said, can I share these on YouTube? He said yes. I'm so glad he did because, wow, some of these concepts are absolutely brilliant. I got to tell you, and we'll begin here with the Utah Venom. Look at that crest right there on the sweater. I talked about how if you're the name Venom, you pretty much have to go with some type of reptile or snake. And that is so well intertwined with the V right there, which, by the way, do the Golden Knights take any exception to that? I certainly like the baby blue color. I like the stripes there on the sleeves and also on the midsection of the jersey. Obviously, this is the captain's sweater. Ooh, there's a logo, the logo that goes with it right there. Maybe a little something else here on the shoulder caps. Not really anything there for this jersey. But again, these are concepts. These are initial designs. That is pretty clean. We saw the home version. Here's the away sweater in white. And you know, that logo and that crest, it just sits so well on top of both colors. And I think we even have alternates here for every single team and option. So this is the Utah Venom. Ooh, look at that red pop. Now, what color mitts do you wear here? Maybe some baby blue mitts, maybe some white mitts. How about some white buckets up here? You could start to realize that even something like the Utah Venom, when I hear that name, it doesn't really spark anything for me. But now when I see this, like the concept kind of gets me going. And just the logo with the slithering snake, I guess, is that what it is? A python or something? There's a lot to that. I really like that. All of a sudden, I wasn't hot on the Venom, and now I can kind of grasp it. I've always thought that the Utah Yeti was the best name. And I love the fact that Colby here has it as Yeti and not Yetis, which I think Yetis is what the team has trademarked. I like Utah Yeti. It just flows better. Four letters, Utah Yeti, not Yetis. I think we're going to have that problem if it's plural versus singular. I think singular is a better way to go. Look at the colors here. And I like how I feel like this is a little Utah Jazz inspired with the mountain range front and center on the sweater there. The sleeves don't have much going on here. That's fine. I do see the logo there, that kind of alternate logo, which I also really like. And how about the cartoonish type Yeti as the crest? That's pretty cool. That Yeti looks angry, fierce, intimidating, but maybe a little friendly and lovable in some way, shape, or form. I love the color scheme. You got that purple, you've got this kind of light blue right there, and then the brown on the mountains to kind of let it all flow together. And even up here, the collar of the sweater with the stripes, that is very cool. I got to tell you, I've been up on the Yeti, but again, here's a concept for the Yeti sweaters. Now you got to, again, think about the bigger picture here. What color are the breezers down below? Do you keep it rolling purple? Do we have purple mitts here? What color helmet do you wear as part of this road jersey? All of that is part of the package. But again, this initial concept really does wet your whistle. The alternate sweaters here, these might be among the best. Now, that's teal. Looks like San Jose Sharks teal a little bit to me. I think the Sharks teal is darker. But this is an untapped color. I've been saying baby blue all along is what I think the Utah franchise should go with. I really like that alternate logo. I like the main logo. That's a look at the idea of the Utah Yeti. That's pretty snazzy right there, I got to say. Oh, and look at that. I didn't even see that on the alternate, how it's got Utah written in there. And I would assume that the graphic depiction of those mountains right there, is that actually what the mountain range, the Wasatch Range, looks like? I don't know for sure in Utah, but I would imagine that that's probably pretty accurate. Oh, the Utah Grizzlies. Now, that's not a name I was aware of that was one of the eight or nine trademarked. But wait a second. Doesn't this look like the Vancouver Grizzlies, formerly of the NBA? Is this a direct rip? I'm also noticing the common color of teal right there. Hang on a second. Utah, what are you doing? But it's fine. And I actually think the combination here of that teal and that brown right there, copper, maybe that's a copper color. That is a sharp look. I also really like that neckline. That's an interesting logo right there. The grizzly claw coming through the state shape of Utah. And actually, whoa, sorry, I didn't mean to end that there. I also like the crest here on this jersey because it's kind of got the triangle thing, but it's also got like the grizzly and the stick popping out. Let's be honest, it's very San Jose Sharks with the triangle there on the front. Oh, and the broken stick, look at that. Wait, a shark chomping a stick? A grizzly breaking a stick? No, Colby, you've done great work. I'm not picking this apart. I think overall, this is tremendous. This is so fun to go through this because you're giving this life. Something that was just names, and now there's jerseys and colors and things to break down here. I actually like where these logos are. Typically, the logo's more of a shoulder thing. I feel like this is more on the actual arm. So I really do kind of like that. I wonder where numbers would go, if they would, maybe put a number on the front or how they would ultimately solve that. Maybe even numbers on the sides, possibly. Kind of like the stripe here across the middle. So good color scheme. The Grizzlies, I don't know if that's one of the names that's even technically up for consideration. But yeah, I see what they're doing there. Not mad at that. I wonder how the Vancouver hockey fans would feel based on the fact that that's literally how their journey into the NBA started back in the day. Whoa! These are pretty cool. I got to tell you. I mean, I am a big fan of neon. And look at we got the hot pink. We've got the orange. We've got the same color as my Telestrator green here for the Utah Trout. Really? Now, Trout doesn't really scare me. Trout's not intimidating. Trout, I don't know. It's all I can think of is Mike Trout right now. It's not really the most like fear-based mascot. It doesn't instill something, strong or whatever. It's Trout, but man, I like the shape of that crest. It's unique. I know it's got to say Utah and Trout on there, but that's a cool font across the front. Oops, didn't mean to clear that. I really like that color scheme. Now, this one's going to be a little bit tougher because the white doesn't contrast as well with all of the neon colors, but I like the cut right there of how the sleeve changes color to the rest of the jersey and how the waist of the jersey is different than all this white section right here. I got to tell you, I am digging this color scheme, if not anything else. Whoa! Whoa! Can you imagine some hot pink mitts and maybe like a neon green bucket up here? I think you got to go black pants here. And maybe like some pink socks. I don't know what you do. There's so much going on here. But I'll tell you, who else in the NHL is doing it like this? Nobody. Now, I realize sometimes when you say who else is doing this, there's a reason for it. But if you really want to stand out, if you really want to sell merchandise, if you really want to be unique, this is definitely an angle to do it. And again, the Trout were not a team that were on my radar of ones that were being trademarked or reserved, or I don't know if this is part of the Smith Entertainment Group March Madness bracket here in May to choose the name of their NHL team. But even if it's not Trout, I guess what I'm saying here is Trout or not, you definitely got something with that color scheme right there. Like there's ways to make that pop. Can you imagine like a day where all the fans are wearing that neon green in the stands? And it also doesn't really steal from the Jazz. You're not trying to piggyback too much off the Jazz. Okay, let's go back to the Utah Mammoths. Now, this is one of the names that is being considered. And this is one of the team concepts here by Colby that uses the baby blue I'm talking about. I'm not sure whether they're actually going to use that. I just suggested that baby blue is kind of an untapped color in the NHL. I realize it does exist in some ways, shapes, and forms. I think about the Penguins, like the Penguins throwback jerseys, those baby blue ones that they wear. It kind of reminds me of this. I kind of like this logo. And I pondered in a previous video, what's the imagery of the mammoths, like the woolly mammoth? They're extinct. And I guess they were native to Utah. Like there's a place where you can find woolly mammoth remnants in Utah. So it is local. It does have that geographical tie. But what would you do to make this intimidating? It's got, look at the red eyes in there, gripping the stick pretty hard with two hands. There's the alternate logo, which is kind of that M with the woolly mammoth tusks. I see what Colby did there. I like that. The big tusks right here. Okay. I feel like maybe this sweater could use a little something here in the middle. If I'm just making suggestions. Pretty simple on the sleeves. I think this one could use a little bit more dressing up that the other ones have, but I really like the start and the base of that logo right there. Here's the white version. Maybe this one seems and feels a little bit more traditional. Again, that's just a lot of empty space right there. But hey, overall, again, Mammoths was a name that I thought was okay, but now that I see this, I think I'd be very okay with the Utah Mammoths. The name doesn't really float off the tongue, though. You see me even saying it like, watch this, Utah Yeti, Utah Mammoths, Mammoths. It's just a little bit more of a twister to do. The baby blue, I really like that here. We get some stars on the shoulders. It's interesting to have something here and here. You generally don't see that in the NHL. Again, I think the only thing with this jersey, it's just missing here kind of something in the midsection to flash it up. And I don't know, I like the striped collars. I don't know if the white, dark blue, and white works for me up there. And maybe this, I know is that black or is that really, really dark blue? You know, maybe something could pop right here. Maybe a stripe of red in there. I don't know. This one, it's got a lot of things going for it, but there are some other ones that I've just liked more out of these samples. There's the logo, bigger and better look at it. I think that's really cool. The M like that, that's classy. That's unique. I mean, this whole thing is unique too. The Mammoth, kind of the cartoony and friendly thing, and you could clearly see what their mascot is going to look like, right? Like there's no question when you see that logo what their mascot's going to look like. All right, the Utah Outlaws. And here we go again with the sleeves, different color than the body of the jersey. I really like that. Now we've got some numbers here on the shoulders. I think some of the other jerseys could have been, were missing that and could have been using that. It does feel a little bit maybe naked on some of these other spots. Now, as for the logo, teal again. I see what we're doing. Not to be territorial with the Sharks, but I see where this is going. It's a little bit of a different shade of teal. So I don't know what this is under there. Like that's an outlaw, but what actually is that? It's like an elephant almost, or a human. It's so covered up, right? It's got the mask on the face, which is interesting. That this is like a kind of a faceless mascot or image or logo. So what do you do with that? You know, is your mascot like that? Does it not have as much personality because you can't see the face? I don't know. I think it would it be among the only logos and mascots in sports to have a face that's like covered so you can't see it? Possibly. The solid color here on the collar, I really like the contrast. And I'm noticing something I do really like here in all of this. It's the contrast of colors. It's that copper color which is being used here. And it's different from the Las Vegas Golden Knights color. That one has more of a casino carpet. Like doo-doo brown, I call it. And I like it. I really do like that color brown for Las Vegas. It really does kind of fit what they're doing. But I also got to tell you, I really like this brown for the Outlaws. And think about this, a brown bucket up here, maybe some brown pants just like that, or maybe a teal bucket. Something like that for up above. I like this font right here. I like how it's got kind of a Western font. So there's some other things you could do with the Outlaws. I don't know, this logo for me, Colby, you've done great work, right? I mean, you've done so many things here. It's hard to hit on every single one of them. I think this one is like, I think this one's a 6, 7. I mean, considering I think like the Yeti or what was the other one we were just looking at? The Venom is pretty good. You know, some of them, they hit. This one's fine, but I don't know that this one's my favorite. And the Outlaws in general, I think I went over it. There are a dozen other teams I could instantly count right now in professional sports across North America that are already also called the Outlaws. You know, so there's nothing big and unique about this if they go with the Outlaws. But man, I am digging this color scheme. Now this, I'm all for colorful, but this jersey is too much teal. I think you almost have to change the mask color right there, the bandana color of your Outlaw to maybe make it white. That is a lot going on there. I don't know if the numbers really contrast well enough on the shoulders. I still do like this pattern right there of the mountain range as part of the jersey. So I don't know. The Outlaws, one for me. It's there. Oh, and I recognize it. I didn't see that until now. It's got the beehive on there for the Beehive State. So look, like great little touches. Look, even in something that I'm not the biggest fan of, a lot of intricate details right there. Whoa. Now, I was not aware of this one either. the Utah Raptors. I really like what's going on here with the stripes. I think that is a very good look. And there's an interesting contrast going on here with the dark purple and then the light purple and how the white kind of really pops in between. Again, triangle logo, mascot holding a stick, not breaking a stick. Looks a lot like the Sharks, just saying. Number very high on the shoulder, almost near the neckline right there. I don't know if you can do that, but I'll be honest, I kind of like it up there if it actually works and fits. I also saw another jersey that had the name Utah. Sorry for my pen being a little thick there. Kind of right there on this area, which I thought was very cool. I suppose in this day and age, too, a lot of teams have to account for a logo as part of their patch. I like that, which I think we'll see bigger in just a second. The alternate logo of a Raptor kind of grabbing the circle logo with Utah on it. I also realized that this is the name of an NBA team with the Toronto Raptors. And how are people in Toronto going to feel about stealing a name? Now, look, that you've got like the Giants of football and you've got the Giants of baseball. It's not the first time that two team names exist, but this gives you the opportunity to be unique, right? When you say, oh, did you watch the Giants game in October? Well, baseball, football, what are we talking about? September, October. It's kind of confusing. This one is interesting. I do like the white, and I got to say, I really like the stripes here. I feel like the white with those stripes and that whole dark and light purple thing really hits down there. And I like the purple color. Now, is this too much Jazz related? Are you piggybacking, again, too much off the Utah Jazz by picking a purple theme like this? I don't know about that. It's not entirely Jazz, but it definitely kind of feels like that. And maybe some of the purple color goes with the amenities you've already got in the arena. Maybe when you redo it, you can make all the seats purple. I mean, you got to think about this stuff, right? There's a bigger picture going on here. It's kind of like in Pittsburgh, how all the teams have the same colors. Think about the Pirates, the Steelers, and the Penguins. Black and yellow. Black and yellow, black and yellow, right? So maybe in Utah, they would think about doing the same thing with this purple type theme. Again, this jersey to me, I like the crest. I like how the white triangle pops here. But overall, like this is probably too much purple, right? And then what do you do with the pants? What do you do with the helmet? What do you do with the gloves? That is a lot of purple right there. And I realize that's the alternate, but got to break it up, I think, a little bit with those. The logo's good. I feel like this Raptor's a little bit thin around the neck. I feel like this Raptor's got to beef up a little bit. I feel like it's got to fill the triangle more. It's kind of like a baby Raptor right now. We got to get that Raptor's weight up a little bit. All right, the Utah Blizzard. Now this one kind of feels to me. This one feels to me like an old school theme. This kind of looks almost like a throwback-ish inspired jersey. And even the alternate logo, it's the snowflake, which is pretty cool. And I think it's got the mountain range built in. But the way that like Blizzard is written across the chest and Utah to go along with it. But what do you do if you really name your team the Blizzard? And this is something I talked about in a prior video. What imagery comes with a blizzard? Like the Avalanche have the A with like what the snowball coming down the mountain. There's just only so much you can do. And really here, I guess what is that, the sun or the moon and the mountains and then the snow-covered blizzard logo. There's really nothing to this. Like the font itself is the actual logo. And I think like if you ask Colby about this, who did these concepts, maybe that's a struggle point. Somebody hands you the name Blizzard. Do something with this. What do you do with a blizzard? I mean, it's primarily like snow is white, right? Then you got to use baby blue, which I think that's kind of a common theme here. We're seeing a lot of teal ideas and a lot of baby blue ideas. Maybe it ends up being one of those two things. I actually kind of like the thicker stripes here on the sleeves and in the midsection of this one. It's kind of a departure. Usually I like the thin stripes like we just saw with those Raptors. The numbers here on the shoulders, good font for that. So overall, I mean, I think in this case, it goes to show you that if the name is Blizzard, there's only so much you can do with it. And I do like this color. I think that jersey right there, the color of it, how it's primarily baby blue, there's a lot going on. Maybe you make this shoulder cap. You know what? Let me hang on a second. Let me see if I can. My pen is not dark enough blue, but maybe you make the shoulder cap a darker color like that. I guess I could also do purple in there like that. What if you were to make that a different color and kind of break up the top of the jersey there too? I don't know. Just an idea. But again, I think you're really limited when it comes to that name of the Utah Blizzard. By the way, where did we get that stock photo looking down of of the shinny game going on right there. There's the alternate logo. Kind of like that. It feels a little Christmassy. You know, I don't know how that feels in maybe May and June when you're fighting for the playoffs and the Stanley Cup final, but anyway. Now, wait a second. I know what you're thinking. Didn't we already do the Outlaws? Yes, we did, but apparently Colby has two different concepts and ideas here. Now, this one kind of addresses what we were talking about before. The Outlaw was covered with a mask across the face. This Outlaw has a face, and that Outlaw is looking pretty mean in that face. That's kind of the intimidation factor of the logo. This one's pretty cool. It's a, very generic but square, like angry face with the big cowboy hat there. I would have to think that the cowboy hat would become a huge symbol of Utah hockey, I guess, if you really are going to be called the Outlaws. This logo a little bit different here with the two sticks. Another way to see the logo with kind of the word mark, Outlaws written in bold. I also really like this too. The shoulders have kind of the mountain design. Now, I don't know about fitting them in the cap like that. Maybe they could extend differently, but I kind of like the idea of taking something that, used to be down here and also adding it here. Colors, baby blue with the dark. I definitely understand that contrast. I just don't know if maybe there should be more of a bluish color there, like two colors of blue, light blue, dark blue, instead of light blue and black. I feel like maybe that's too sharp of a contrast. Oh, but there it is right there. The word Utah on the shoulder sleeve, shoulder part. I really actually like that. No other team has something like that. I think that could be a bonus. Now, I really like this version of it. So you've got kind of three colors going on here. You've got that teal again, or no, would we say blue? This is baby blue. Yeah, this is more blue. Sorry. Baby blue, but you got the white in there and the dark. You've got everything kind of converging there on the sleeve. Maybe something a little bit different with the stripes on the midsection or right here. Maybe something like that would be, I don't know, more applicable for this jersey. Here you've got a bigger and better look at the logo. It's pretty clean. I mean, it's more cartoonish. You're kind of limited to, the cowboy. Like that is your Outlaw. That is your mascot. That's your look. I really like this as the alternate logo that feels kind of mountainy and woodsy. The U with the bandana around the neck, that's also interesting. I like even this logo. It incorporates a lot of things. The mountain range, the hockey sticks, the cowboy hat, and the word Outlaws strong and bold right there across the bottom. So I think the point and the purpose of this entire video is that picking a name is important. And everybody's got to like the name, but you also have to think several steps beyond that. What does your logo look like? What do the sweaters look like? Again, I'll link to Colby's profile and page down below so you can check out anything else that he does in the future moving forward. But I saw those, wanted to share those. Thought that was an interesting look at maybe how things might actually go if we're looking at the future of this Utah hockey team, what they might be called, what their logo might look like, and obviously what their sweaters might look like. Hey, you made it here to the end of the video. You know I appreciate that. Can you give me thumbs up down below? That'll greatly help me and this channel and this video. I just wanted to do that. And by the way, I promise I won't do that every time. If you've never seen me or any of this before, I actually appreciate that. I'm glad you found me. But go down right now and hit that subscribe button. I would really appreciate that so we can make sure that I definitely get to see you back here next time.